In the vast Persian Empire, a story unfolded that would change the course of history. This is the story of Esther, a young Jewish woman whose courage and faith saved an entire nation. Her journey begins in the court of King Xerxes, a powerful ruler whose decisions would shape the destiny of many. The Persian Empire was at its peak, stretching from India to Ethiopia. King Xerxes, also known as Ahasuerus, ruled from his magnificent palace in Susa. One day, the king decided to showcase the splendor of his kingdom by hosting a grand banquet. For 180 days, he displayed the vast riches of his empire, and then he held a 7-day feast for all the people in the citadel of Susa. But amidst the celebrations, a conflict arose. Queen Vashti, the king's wife, was hosting a separate banquet for the women. On the 7th day of the feast, King Xerxes, in high spirits from wine, commanded his eunuchs to bring Queen Vashti before him to display her beauty to the nobles and officials. However, Queen Vashti refused to come. Her defiance angered the king, and he sought counsel from his advisors. His advisors warned him that if Queen Vashti's behavior went unpunished, women across the empire would defy their husbands. They urged the king to remove her as queen and find a new wife. King Xerxes agreed, and a decree was issued. Queen Vashti was to be banished, and a search would begin for the most beautiful and worthy woman in the land to become the new queen. In the city of Susa, there lived a young Jewish woman named Esther. Orphaned as a child, she was raised by her cousin Mordecai, a devout man who served in the king's court. Esther was known for her beauty, but more importantly, for her kindness and wisdom. One day, news of the king's search for a new queen reached Mordecai. He knew Esther was beautiful enough to be chosen, but he also knew the dangers of revealing her Jewish identity in a foreign court. Yet, Mordecai believed that God had a plan for Esther. He encouraged her to go to the palace and present herself. Esther obeyed Mordecai and went to the palace, where she was placed under the care of Hegai, the king's eunuch in charge of the harem. Hegai was immediately impressed by Esther's grace and humility. He provided her with the best beauty treatments and assigned her 7 maids to attend to her needs. After months of preparation, it was time for the young women to appear before the king. Each woman was given the opportunity to present herself, but none captured the king's heart, like Esther. When Esther entered the throne room, her beauty and grace left everyone in awe. King Xerxes was immediately drawn to her, and he placed the royal crown on her head, declaring her the new queen of Persia. Esther's rise to queenship was nothing short of miraculous, yet she never forgot her roots or her faith. At Mordecai's advice, she kept her Jewish identity a secret, trusting that God's hand was at work in her life. Meanwhile, Mordecai continued to serve at the king's gate. One day he overheard 2 guards plotting to assassinate King Xerxes. Mordecai immediately reported the conspiracy to Esther, who informed the king. The plot was foiled, and Mordecai's loyalty was recorded in the royal chronicles. However, not everyone in the kingdom was loyal. Haman, the king's highest official, was a proud and arrogant man. The king had recently promoted him above all other nobles, and Haman expected everyone to bow down to him. But Mordecai, a devout Jew, refused to bow to anyone but God. Haman was furious. When he learned that Mordecai was a Jew, he devised a wicked plan to destroy not only Mordecai, but all the Jews in the Persian Empire. He went to the king and accused the Jews of being disloyal subjects, suggesting that they should be annihilated. Without realizing the full implications, King Xerxes agreed and issued a decree ordering the destruction of the Jewish people. When Mordecai learned of the decree, he tore his clothes, put on sackcloth and ashes, and wept bitterly. He sent a message to Esther, urging her to go to the king and plead for her people. But Esther was afraid. Anyone who approached the king without being summoned could be put to death, unless the king extended his golden scepter. Mordecai's response was firm. "Do not think that because you are in the king's house, you alone will escape. If you remain silent, deliverance for the Jews will arise from another place, but you and your father's family will perish. And who knows but that you have come to your royal position for such a time as this?" Esther made a decision. She asked Mordecai and all the Jews in Susa to fast and pray for 3 days. She too would fast, and then she would go to the king, even if it cost her life. Thanks for watching the video. Please subscribe my YouTube channel to get more video. Welcome to my YouTube channel, Timeless Bible Story. Today we will discussion about the faithful prophetess of the Bible, women Anna. Throughout the Bible, we encounter figures whose unwavering faith and devotion to God set them apart. One such woman is Anna, a prophetess whose life exemplified perseverance, worship, and unwavering trust in the Lord. Though mentioned briefly in the Gospel of Luke, her story carries profound significance. Join us as we journey through the life of Anna, a woman of faith and prophetic vision. Anna, the daughter of Phanuel, was of the tribe of Asher, one of the 12 tribes of Israel. From an early age, she exhibited deep devotion to God. In a time when women had limited roles in religious life, Anna's faith set her apart as a seeker of divine truth. Like many young women of her time, Anna married at a young age, but her life took a sorrowful turn when, after only 7 years of marriage, she became a widow. Despite her loss, Anna did not succumb to despair. Instead, she found solace in the presence of God. She dedicated the remainder of her life to fasting, prayer, and worship in the Temple of Jerusalem. For decades, Anna remained in the temple, fasting and praying day and night. Her devotion was unparalleled, and her life became a testament to unceasing faith. She did not seek remarriage or worldly comfort, but instead she found her purpose in communion with God. Anna became a revered figure among the people. She was known as a prophetess, a woman gifted with divine insight. Many sought her wisdom, and she remained steadfast in her belief that God would send the promised Messiah. One fateful day, after many years of waiting, Anna's faith was rewarded. At the temple, she witnessed an extraordinary moment. Joseph and Mary had brought their newborn son, Jesus, to be presented to the Lord, as was customary under Jewish law. At the same time, a devout man named Simeon, guided by the Holy Spirit, recognized Jesus as the Messiah and prophesied about his role in God's plan. Anna, witnessing this divine revelation, was filled with joy. At that moment, Anna knew that her years of fasting, praying, and waiting were not in vain. She gave thanks to God and began sharing the good news with all who longed for the redemption of Israel. Anna's daily life in the temple was a reflection of her unwavering faith. She spent her time praying, fasting, and encouraging those who sought guidance. Many came to her for advice, and her words carried the weight of divine wisdom. Not only did Anna worship and pray, but she also showed great kindness to those in need. She was known for her generosity, using whatever little she had to help others. Her selflessness was a testament to her deep love for God and his people. Anna's story is a powerful reminder of the rewards of steadfast faith. Though she lived in the shadows of history, her role was pivotal in proclaiming the arrival of the Savior. She became one of the first to testify to Jesus' divine mission, spreading hope to those who awaited the redemption of Jerusalem. Her life teaches us that faithfulness to God does not go unnoticed. Anna's name may not be as widely known as others in the Bible, but her impact is eternal. She stands as an example of endurance, prayer, and unwavering trust in God's promises. Anna's story continues to inspire believers today. Her life reminds us to remain steadfast in faith, even when the world around us is uncertain. She teaches us that prayer and devotion are powerful tools for staying connected to God's purpose. Anna's patience and faithfulness encourage us to trust in God's timing. She waited decades to see the fulfillment of God's promise, and when the moment came, she was ready to embrace it with joy and thanksgiving. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the story of Anna, the faithful prophetess. If you found inspiration in her life, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Timeless Bible Story for more powerful biblical narratives. May we all strive to have faith like Anna, unwavering and steadfast in our devotion to God. Until next time, God bless. Welcome to my YouTube channel Timeless Bible Stories video. In the pages of the Bible, there are stories of individuals whose lives were transformed by encounters with Jesus. Among them is Mary Magdalene, a woman often misunderstood, yet one of the most devoted followers of Christ. Her story is one of redemption, courage, and unwavering faith. Today we delve into the life of Mary Magdalene, a woman who went from being broken to becoming a messenger of hope. Mary Magdalene is mentioned multiple times in the Gospels, but her story begins with a profound transformation. Luke's Gospel tells us that Jesus cast out 7 demons from her, freeing her from a life of torment and despair. This moment marked the beginning of Mary's new life. From that day forward, she became one of Jesus' most devoted followers, supporting his ministry and traveling with him. Mary Magdalene's devotion to Jesus was unwavering. She was part of a group of women who supported Jesus and his disciples financially and practically. Her life became a testament to the transformative power of Christ's love and grace. Mary's story reminds us that no one is beyond the reach of God's love. No matter how broken or lost we may feel, Jesus can restore us and give us a new purpose. Mary Magdalene's loyalty to Jesus was evident even in his darkest hour. While many of his disciples fled, Mary stood at the foot of the cross, witnessing his crucifixion. Her presence was a powerful act of love and solidarity. In that moment of profound sorrow, Mary's faith did not waver. She remained with Jesus until the very end, a testament to her deep love and devotion. After Jesus' death, Mary Magdalene's devotion continued. On the 3rd day, she went to the tomb to anoint Jesus' body. But when she arrived, she found the stone rolled away and the tomb empty. Distraught, Mary ran to tell Peter and John, who came and saw the empty tomb for themselves. But it was Mary who stayed behind, weeping outside the tomb. As Mary stood there, heartbroken, she encountered the risen Christ. At first, she did not recognize him, thinking he was the gardener. But when Jesus called her by name, everything changed. In that moment, Mary's sorrow turned to joy. She was the first person to see the risen Lord, a privilege that underscores her significance in the story of the resurrection. Jesus entrusted Mary with a sacred task to announce his resurrection to the disciples. In doing so, she became the first evangelist, the first to proclaim the good news of the risen Christ. Mary's role as the apostle to the apostles highlights the importance of women in Jesus' ministry. Her story challenges us to recognize the value of every individual in God's plan. Mary Magdalene's legacy is one of redemption, courage, and unwavering faith. She reminds us that no one is too broken to be used by God, and that his love has the power to transform even the most shattered lives. Mary's story also challenges us to be bold in our faith. Like her, we are called to share the good news of Jesus' resurrection with the world. Mary Magdalene's life teaches us the power of redemption, the importance of devotion, and the courage to share our faith. Her story is a reminder that no matter where we've been or what we've done, God can use us for His glory. Let Mary Magdalene's story inspire you to embrace your own transformation, to stand firm in your faith, and to boldly proclaim the good news of Jesus Christ. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the life of Mary Magdalene, a woman whose story continues to inspire millions. Please subscribe my YouTube channel to get also more interesting video. Thank you so much. Welcome to YouTube channel Timeless Bible Stories, with an inspiring journey into the life of one of the Bible's most remarkable women, Abigail. Known for her wisdom, courage, and grace, Abigail played a pivotal role in the life of David, the future king of Israel. Her story teaches us timeless lessons in humility, wisdom, and the power of making right choices in the face of adversity. Today we'll explore Abigail's life, the challenges she faced, and the powerful example she left behind. Let's delve into the story of Abigail, the great woman who showed extraordinary wisdom and courage at a critical moment in history. Abigail was a woman living in a time when Israel was ruled by the first king, Saul, and political tensions were high. She was married to Nabal, a wealthy but foolish man from Carmel, who owned vast land and herds of livestock. While Nabal was known for his harshness and foolishness, Abigail stood out for her wisdom and beauty. The Bible describes her as a woman of good understanding and beautiful in appearance, 1 Samuel 25:3. But her true beauty lay in her ability to think clearly and act wisely, even in difficult situations. While society may have placed limitations on women at the time, Abigail showed that one person's wisdom could make a monumental difference. One day, David and his men, living as fugitives in the wilderness, protected the sheep and shepherds of Nabal. When David sent his men to ask for provisions, having shown kindness to Nabal's property, Nabal responded with scorn and insults. He refused to offer any assistance, calling David a mere runaway servant. This rejection angered David, who, with his men, prepared to go to war against Nabal. But Abigail, upon hearing what had happened, knew that bloodshed was imminent, and she had to act fast. Without hesitation, Abigail gathered provisions, bread, wine, meat, and more, and set out to meet David. She did not wait for permission, knowing that her husband's foolishness could bring disaster. She acted swiftly, with both courage and grace, determined to intervene before things escalated. As she approached David's camp, Abigail did not come in anger or accusation, but humbly, asking for forgiveness on behalf of her husband. She recognized David's greatness and acknowledged the potential consequences of Nabal's actions. When Abigail saw David, she immediately dismounted and fell on her face before him, pleading for mercy. She did not argue with David, but instead took full responsibility for her husband's actions. With wisdom, she reminded David that as king, he was above petty revenge and should not stain his hands with innocent blood. David, moved by her humility and wisdom, was deeply impressed. He recognized that God had sent Abigail to stop him from making a grave mistake. He thanked her for preventing him from shedding blood in vain, and he blessed her for her courage and discernment. After her meeting with David, Abigail returned home to find her husband, Nabal, in the midst of a feast, drunk from celebrating. She waited until the morning to speak to him about the events that had unfolded. When she told him what had happened, Nabal was struck with fear, and his heart failed him. Within 10 days, Nabal died, likely due to a stroke or heart failure caused by the shock of the situation. Abigail, who had acted to save lives, was now free from the foolishness of her former husband. After Nabal's death, David, recognizing Abigail's wisdom and strength, sent for her. He invited her to become his wife, and Abigail agreed, leaving behind her past to join David and support him on his journey to the throne. Abigail's life offers us valuable lessons that we can apply today. First, she demonstrated incredible wisdom when faced with a potentially violent situation. She acted swiftly, thinking strategically and preventing a disaster. Second, Abigail showed immense courage in doing what was right, even when it meant standing up to her husband. She did not allow loyalty to a man's foolishness to dictate her actions. She chose to follow her conscience and protect others. Third, Abigail's humility was key in diffusing a tense situation. When she met David, she didn't come in anger, but with grace and humility. This approach allowed her wisdom to shine, and it paved the way for David to accept her counsel. Finally, Abigail's story teaches us the importance of trusting in God's judgment. When she urged David not to take vengeance, she reminded him to leave justice to God. Trusting in God's timing and judgment can prevent us from making rash decisions and guide us to peace. Abigail's story is a testament to the power of wisdom, humility, and courage. She wasn't just a woman of beauty, but one of strength and integrity. In a time when women had few opportunities to influence society, Abigail showed that one wise and courageous act could change the course of history. Let us remember the lessons from Abigail's life: wisdom in the face of danger, courage to do what is right, and trust in God's timing. May her example inspire us to make wise and righteous decisions no matter the challenges we face. Thank you for joining us on this journey into the life of Abigail, a great woman in the Bible. If you found her story inspiring, please like, share, and subscribe for more biblical stories and lessons. God bless.